Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-use.com, and you'd think there was some kind of special holiday today or something, but we are drinking a particular style. This is Irish Red Ale.
Irish Red Ale, go figure.
So we have brewed this many a time in our many years of home brewing semi-excellence. So I'd like to know, because you're always throwing some kind of screwball at me.
Oh, yeah?
What's different about this one? Because I'm expecting some toffee notes.
Oh, I'm sorry to disappoint.
Nope, it's a standard recipe.
Yeah, no, this is a pretty straightforward Irish Red. So for Irish Red Ale in general, right?
Yeah.
Red Ale is probably the most elusive ale color to get, right? Because you're talking about it's yellow going to brown black, and somewhere in the middle there's a really finite window depending on which malt you use to try to get it to be red. This guy still has some haze because he's only been in the keg for a short period of time. He still has a little bit of haze, and it looks really dark on the camera, but I think once it clears up there'll be some ruby hints in there. At least we'll say that.
We'll say that, and that's what it'll be.
So why don't I just jump into the recipe, and we'll just talk about it from there. So this is actually a 2.5 gallon batch. This is so when it's really cold out in the garage,
yeah,
and I don't want to get this thing going and have water hoses for a chiller and all that jazz, I like to do on a small burner, I'll do a 2.5 gallon batch, brew in a bag. So so this is for 2.5 gallon brew in a bag batch. So it's 83% Briess Pale Ale Malt, about 3 love, 7.5% Weyermann CaraRed, which is about, CaraRed's about 20 love, and then this is Briess Cara 120, about another 7.5%, and then just a touch to push a little bit more color, Chocolate Rye, 2% Chocolate Rye. So to go down the list in pounds, it's 3.7 pounds of the Pale Ale Malt, 0.33 pounds of the CaraRed, 0.33 of the Crystal 120, and 0.09 pounds of the Chocolate Rye, which actually then translates to, I've got the metrics, 1.7 kilograms of the Pale Ale Malt, 153 grams each of the CaraRed and the Crystal 120, and about 40 grams of the Chocolate Rye. So there we go. So, and then I mashed this in at 152, about 152, because I wanted to try to get it to be as dry as I can. With such a strong amount of the Crystal caramel malts in there, I want the rest of the base malt to get out as much as I can get out. And I guess the only real twist, if I was going to say there was a twist in this baby, is I fermented this with Windsor Ale Yeast, the dry Windsor Ale Yeast from LalBrew.
Okay.
Which is a yeast that I've never used before. At least if I have, it was very long ago. But I think Windsor is relatively new within the last 5, maybe 10 years, but I don't think I've ever used it before.
Yeah,
so.
I was noting the yeast character of this beer. Mm-hmm. It's got very soft, doughy notes.
And for hops, this is 2 ounces of EKG for 60 minutes. That's
got it. Yep, yep.
Nothing special, because I want the maltiness and whatever to come through in the aroma.
Yep. I think that there's a little bit of the toffee notes that, hoping that I get from this. A little bit of hop carrier, a little bit.
Yeah, tiny bit. Tiny bit.
It's present, but it's not.
Yeah, I have to double check the alpha acid and the hops I use, because maybe it'd be a little stronger, just to balance the sweetness of all the character malts. Yeah. But this actually tastes to me a little bit like Smithwick's.
Yeah.
Right? The Smithwick's Smithwick's, is that what it is? Irish Red?
Yeah.
A little bit like that.
Yeah.
I think the color is almost close to that. I just whipped this together too. I used software a little bit to get me into the ballpark for the color, but I basically looked at what I had available in the grain bins and pulled it together.
Yeah.
And here we go.
That's what we got.
Yep.
I think that with some time for it to clear a bit, I wonder if certainly it would, it's kind of got like a flabby finish, like it's not as...
I think it could have fermented a little stronger and a little bit more aggressive. So the finishing gravity on this was 1015. For this type of simple ale starting at 1050 starting gravity, I'd really like to see that thing get down to like 1010 and dry out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if, since you didn't use roasted barley, If like a little bit of a roasted note is missing too. Just as
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have any roasted barley. That's why I used the chocolate rye, which is actually about half the color strength of like a roasted barley. Chocolate rye is about a 175. My chocolate rye is about 175 love. So yeah, no, I was trying to play with, what I was really trying to do here is get to the color.
Yeah.
Right? And get a sense of, you know, how getting that red color, you know, and I don't really think I've achieved red color. This is more of like an Irish brown, you know, but it's gonna drink well on St. Patrick's Day with salty corned beef. It's gonna be perfectly fine. So yeah, I would recommend poorly fermenting and having too much character malt in your Irish red if you're gonna consume it with a meal. If you just want to drink on its own, dry it out.
Yes, there's nothing that says or finishes off a New England boiled dinner.
Yes.
Than like a big, you know, fat Irish.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a beer. I just was trying to have fun, and I have a stout on tap too. So this is the first time I think that I can remember in my brewing history that I actually have an Irish red ale and a stout on tap for St. Patrick's Day.
Nice. Wow. It's like you finally got there.
Yeah, finally. It's only taken 20-something years.
Well, you know, you had time to think about it, had time to brew.
And I wanted to try to do this pre St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. But whatever, we're drinking it on.
Here we are.
So
yeah, as you're watching.
So sorry you don't have a recipe for St. Patrick's Day, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you can always plan for 2020.
It got really cold here, and I just wasn't inspired to brew like 3 weeks ago.
True. All right, well, this is interesting. Your twist to me is the chocolate rye, because how many pounds of that do you have left?
Oh, 12, 15 pounds of chocolate rye.
I can't believe, like, we're going to be brewing for the next decade. You're like, okay.
When I need to color adjust, the first thing I think about is, well, I guess I got to pull out the chocolate rye.
I thought you were going to say, like, well, we haven't had a cream ale with chocolate rye yet.
No, I can't. I can't muddy up a cream ale with chocolate rye, but yeah.
Cool. Well, Irish red, certainly, like I've always thought, the color was the key, and I think we've had somebody send in an Irish red.
Yep.
And it was like spot on. I was like, this is it. But
I think red ales are making a comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot more chatter about red ale lately.
Red ale, yeah.
Of course, that means probably red IPA, but whatever. I'll take what we can get.
We'll take. Yeah. I think that craft and/or homebrewers trying to get to that color is a good thing. So. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, because we do this kind of thing every single week. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, brew on.
Cheers.